Hello, I'm Hannah Kaplan, and this is the WCS Wild Audio Podcast, where you'll find reported audio stories covering the latest news and newsmakers from WCS's field sites, zoos and aquarium, and their conservation partners. We've got a great show today, so let's get to it. In November 2021, the Wildlife Conservation Society launched a new campaign to address the crisis of climate change called Framing Our Future. The effort was premised on partnerships with a wide range of civic, cultural, and academic institutions across the United States. One of those partners, the Bronx's Fordham University, has embraced the campaign as part of its own green plan to live out the inspirational call to protect nature found in Pope Francis's Laudato Si encyclical. Nat Moss has the story.
It all begins with trees.
The greatest sequester of carbon is the tree. Mother Nature has given us this incredible piece of hardware. And if we can save these forests and we can save these trees, we can do some incredible things. We can help protect biodiversity, save biodiversity, but at the same time save ourselves.
John Calvelli is Executive Vice President for Public Affairs at WCS. He argues that protecting the ecological integrity of forests pays dividends far beyond safeguarding the carbon stored in trees. It protects biodiversity at a time when the UN estimates 1 million species are at risk of extinction. It avoids spillover of new viruses like COVID, for which people have no immunity. And it secures the territory of indigenous people and local communities from criminal elements that hope to illegally exploit forest resources for profit. Taken together, those goals make a powerful case for how we can begin to frame our future.
The name alone tells the story. It's this idea that we have a role to play. We can make a difference.
For the purposes of the Framing Our Future campaign, that difference could come in one of 3 key actions.
The concept that we always use is educate, advocate, and lobby. So what we've been able to do using that model is identify partners, and we now have over 30 partners that really go from New York to California. And then on top of that, we also have the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. And the AZA is the national umbrella for over 200 zoos and aquariums in 46 states. But it's not just the zoo and aquarium community. We reached out to the botanical garden community here in New York. And one of my personal favorite partners is Fordham University. During my tenure here at WCS, we've worked very closely with Fordham to shape some of the policy issues around the challenges that we face in the Bronx.
The point of free will is we make our messes and we clean them up. So that is what we're charged with doing, and it's just a very proud part of our identity as a Jesuit Catholic institution.
Tanya Tetlow is the president of Fordham University, a venerable Jesuit academic institution established in 1841 and situated across the street from WCS's Bronx Zoo headquarters. Under her leadership, Fordham is rolling out a new green plan that takes its inspiration from Laudato Si, the 2015 encyclical of Pope Francis. That papal document warns of unprecedented destruction of ecosystems with serious consequences for us all if we don't act now.
It has been a critical expression of leadership, not just for Catholics, but across the globe, because given the erosion of trust in so many institutions around the world, there are few people with as much credibility as Pope Francis has, really across the board. His articulation of why we need to care, his sounding of the alarm, his call to action is eloquent and beautiful and persuasive to people of all faiths. And I love the very specific ways he talks about, that we've slipped as humanity, that the arrogance and hubris we've shown, the over-reliance on technology, the consumerism really diminishes us as a people, and it's risking our very existence as a human race. And so to live in a way that's more about values and to act together as a community to do more to change the tide of what's happening, it's a really profound document, the encyclical.
From his office at the Bronx Zoo, John Calvelli sits just a stone's throw from the Fordham campus he knows well from his days as an undergraduate and law student at the school. To him, partnering with a Catholic institution on framing our future made perfect sense.
Pope Francis has challenged us to care about our planet, our common home. So what better way than to partner with Fordham University to start building those bridges We've brought on board a graduate student who's helping to organize on campus. So it's kind of exciting to watch this model, because if we can get it right here at Fordham, with Fordham University and our parks here, there are so many other universities that have relationships with their local zoo or aquarium, or more importantly, would like to form that relationship. And it'll be a very powerful way for us to extend that message to the next generation of leaders.
Fordham President Tetlow was enthusiastic with how it's going so far.
Having the ambassador program with Framing Our Future has been a great way to really be specific with students about having those arrows in their quiver, right? And we give them the framework to come up with solutions. And we gather the students working on these issues together, because their ability to be more impactful is so much greater when they come together as a group, which also inspires us as Fordham to do better. We've been working hard on reducing our carbon footprint, solar fields, energy efficiency, all of those things, and how we model our own values to our students.
For John Calvelli, that sense of purpose has become very personal.
I have a 23-year-old, so I pretty much apologize to him every day in terms of what my generations before have done to this planet. And it's really his generation that is going to have to live with the mistakes that we've made. So I feel this sense of personal responsibility to try to do as much as possible. And what I see in the newer generation, the younger generations, is this idea that we need to step up and do something. We need to step up and make a difference.
Tanya Tetlow agrees.
This generation of incoming students feels pretty betrayed and knows that they're inheriting a world that's broken, and especially on issues of climate change, above all else, there is a sense of urgency and a demand that we in higher ed do more, pay more attention. What I'm seeing is a real recognition that this has to be the most important, because it will render everything else moot if we don't get it right.
Activating a large group of people to work for change is half the battle. As John Calvelli says, it all comes back to educate, advocate, and lobby. WCS's Framing Our Future campaign, and its partnership with Fordham University in particular, is providing a model for engaging a new generation to become lifelong champions for the Earth's protection.
There are going to be young people from Fordham who are going to come here and work at the Wildlife Conservation Society. I having been one of them many moons ago. But if we can create that linkage, that pipeline, it'll benefit Fordham, it'll benefit WCS and the Bronx Zoo, but I'm very excited to benefit New York and the planet.
For WCS Wild Audio, this is Nat Moss.
Today's episode was produced and reported by Nat Moss, with help from Hannah Kaplan and Dan Rosen. The WCS Wild Audio Podcast is a production of the Wildlife Conservation Society. Please join us next week for a new episode, and don't forget to rate or review the show wherever you get your podcasts.